the fuck are you doing?
Wall of gent, Jonathan. It paralyzes its opponent until the wall is broken. It was taught to me by Tibetan monks in the East Indies.
Well, we got this in the mail.
Wow. It's a map to Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze!
Wow.
Let's go have a montage over to it!
Donkey Kong Country was released for the SNES in 1994, and it served as an introduction to the Donkey Kong character that we are most familiar with throughout Nintendo media. Gone were the attempts to snatch up Pauline. Instead, we got to play as the Big Ape ourselves as we kicked the Kremlings out of our home and won back our stolen bananas from their villainous leader, King K. Rool. Interestingly enough, while K. Rool would stay the villain in the next two games, albeit sporting ridiculous outfits that didn't hide his actual appearance whatsoever, Donkey Kong wouldn't return as a playable character in either sequel despite his name being firmly part of the title. Donkey Kong Country 2 instead saw Diddy Kong become the star of the show, as he and his girlfriend Dixie stepped into the heart of Kremling territory to rescue DK from the clutches of King K. Rool. Donkey Kong Country 3 saw a similar scenario occur where Donkey Kong is again nabbed by K. Rool, leaving Dixie and her toddler cousin Kitty to save the day. Fast forward 14 years and we see the series rise from its slumber in the form of Donkey Kong Country Returns, which gave us control of Donkey Kong once again, only with a different set of enemies to smash up.
There it is.
Yeah, and there's a game under it too.
Oh, okay. Let's go home and play this!
It'll play like Mario. It's not fun.
The Donkey Kong series is not to be taken lightly. It's got innumerable fans out there. Roll the clip.
Donkey Kong Country.
Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong Country.
Donkey Kong Country. Donkey Kong Country.
Donkey Kong Country Returns.
Donkey Kong game.
It's Donkey Kong Country.
For the Donkey Kong Country games for the Super Nintendo.
In fact, a lot of people would name DK as the mascot of some of their favorite games. So with that pressure, how did Retro take a game we all know and love and create something fresh and new from the ashes?
Yes, they did create the Metroid Prime trilogy, which were just, they were good, but Metroid Prime is not DKC. Luckily for both Retro and Nintendo fans alike, Donkey Kong Country Returns burst onto the scene in a blaze of glory. Hell, it almost sold 5 million copies by the end of the first quarter. But could they do it again? Could they now take their formula that worked so well, but rework it to keep the country experience as refreshing as Coral Capers? Well, it all comes down to making a game that's new, but also works well. And woo, does Tropical Freeze smack you in the face with its gameplay. You're immediately thrust into a distant land due to a storm from the bad guys.
Should we talk about the story?
These guys are assholes. They bring snow and Viking theming. There you go. Were you expecting the freaking Odyssey? Anyways, these guys blow you away to another island and your goal is to continue along your path, hopping from island to island till you uproot the Vikings, whom are called snowmads. It's like a nomad with just a little bit of burr lives.
It's cute. It's not reinventing the wheel, but it sure as hell isn't relying on past fame. Returns was good, maybe even great. Tropical Freeze, that's better.
Now, notice I mentioned that Retro Studios didn't rely on franchise fame. I love it. It's a whole new story, and like the last one, there's no K. Rool. I guess we can assume he legitimately died. Never really understood what he wanted with a ton of bananas. I don't think crocodiles eat bananas. And again, I really don't think crocodiles take anthropomorphic forms either, so fuck it.
Maybe the game's not really about alligators. Maybe the game's about the effects of expansionism on the environment. Now one day the environment will always take it back. But probably not.
But hey, I'm glad we've been introduced to the snowmads. They allow for environmental changes of jungle to medieval Europe to Africa for some reason.
Well, hey, this is about expansionism.
It's new, it's refreshing. If you've ever played DKC in the past, you get the general gist of the controls, but with a new experience, new ways to use them, and maybe some skills you have yet to be introduced to will become as easy as washing your hands. That's a big part of what separates the new DK games from the new Mario games. The newer Marios tend to shove nostalgia down your throat. They're still excellent games, but after a while you'll be thinking to yourself, okay, yeah, we get it. What do you have to give me that's completely new but not based on motion controls? Tropical Freeze is always keeping things fresh level-wise. And apart from the token water world, yeah, there's an ice world, but what else do you expect from a game that has freeze in the title? Hell, on the first level I was expecting to hear jungle japes. I was expecting Retro to try to put me in a classic Donkey Kong mood. They didn't. In fact, the well-known Simeon Shaker doesn't appear in the base game. at all. You can't just go to the store and buy Jungle Japes. David Wise, the director for the SNES DKC games, composed a bunch of great tracks which I enjoyed every second of. All new original tracks. I'm being a bit rough, but that's what takes a game like the new Super Mario Bros. Series, which would be a 7 out of 10 game for me, and boost the score to tropical freeze levels.
Hey, give me this shit. The cat's out of the bag.
Mechanically, it's amazing. Gameplay is as solid as you can expect, and Donkey Kong has momentum, and it feels great. The older SNES games kind of felt slidey to me. Not the ice levels, all the levels. There was momentum there, and I like where Rare was going with it, but I feel it always could have been improved on. It was. You will always understand physically where you'll end up. It's a feeling of control that is necessary to have when platforming challenges are of tropical freeze difficulty. I mean, look at this shit. Can you do this without control? Makes me think when this game was in planning, the difficulty was a secondary priority. What was the true priority was how the game plays, and that becomes almost obvious from the start. That's the art of the enjoyably difficult. Through excellent controls and complementing enemy placement, you get a game that, although is difficult, doesn't cheat lives out of the player. Now that's great, but how do you take that to the next level?
Game fluidity.
Controls and movements should be completely seamless to each conjoining action at this point in a platformer game.
Remind yourself that the platformer style of game has been around for quite a few years, starting with like 1980, and then coincidentally becoming a definable medium with Donkey Kong.
As you can expect, Tropical Freeze delivers. Just look here, jumps are easy to make while having the ability and necessity to be precise, all while keeping a fluid momentum to enemy, obstacle to obstacle. And this isn't just with enemies, there's plenty of new and interesting mechanics that all work just as fluidly and also make you think outside of the box. Each time something new is introduced, it's like it's being introduced in the safest way possible, just so you get it. Get it? Good, now go to war. Retro Studios doesn't treat you like you're an idiot. They give you the benefit of the doubt that you can hit a couple buttons to get past an obstacle. For example, here in this Kenya-ass level, you got these puppets. They have little strings you can climb on and act like moving vines, but these puppets have a bit of rhythm and a path to them. Some will bob up and down, some will rock back and forth, and some will bring out your claustrophobia. Shit! But the timing for these jumps, it comes so simply. And why is this? What could make the already very polished core elements of gameplay shine more while being wrapped up nicely?
The wonderful aesthetics.
Now, usually the art styles and music complement a good game. It's to be expected. But what if suddenly they make the gameplay even better? Well, that's what Tropical Freeze focuses on with its score and art. The background music in Tropical Freeze completely complements the gameplay by setting the rhythm the level is based off of. Now, the music becomes ingrained in an almost rhythm game way. It helps and keeps the level progression coming along like butter.
By the jawline of Reagan, this game is so seamless and so smooth.
As you progress through the levels, the score will actually progress with you as a song would. For example, halfway through a level, a cinematic tornado might strike, adding wind resistance to the gameplay, while including a more dynamic soundtrack to complement the increasing sense of danger. In fact, most of these levels have cinematic approaches, or at least progressive ideas for how the worlds will pan out. In World 5, you start the world outside of a very colorful jungle, which is being cut down and harvested for fruit. By the middle of the level, you're traversing through cool dark blues and darker shades from the interior of a juicing factory. And by the end, you're sliding on chilly whites and blues as you approach the boss, located in a partially frozen den. All these factors, great controls and physics combined with amazing fluid gameplay and then wrapped up together with interesting gameplay mechanics and a lovingly crafted environment to wrap it all up with, it makes for a fantastically made game, and Tropical Freeze falls into all of these categories.
I really enjoyed my time playing Tropical Freeze and actually underestimated how much I would actually like the game. I mean, I loved this game very much and I'd recommend it to anyone. But actually, how's the co-op? Let's find out real quick. Let me grab a controller.
Never made it as a wise man. I couldn't cut it as a poor man stealing it. This is how you remind me